Today we are going to create an IMR control chart together. I stands for individual and MR stands for moving range. For this hands-on example, we will use SIGMADESK control chart generator, and along the way we will learn all the fundamentals in a practical way. If you would like to follow along, you can create a free account at SIGMADESK and join me step by step. First, from the home page, I select the control chart generator, which takes me directly to the IMR chart creator. The only thing I need to do is copy and paste the dataset into the spreadsheet, or load one of the control charts we previously saved. I will upload a sample chart that I prepared earlier. From the chart options, I simply load the saved chart. Now my dataset is loaded, and the eye chart has been visualized. Before interpreting the results, let's have a look at the basics. An eye chart basically consists of an X and Y axis. The Y-axis represents our measurement range, while the X-axis can contain labels such as dates or any custom identifier. You can also leave it blank, and the application will automatically use the measurements order as labels, and each measurements. They are connected sequentially, making trends and variations easier to observe. The center line is simply the average of all measurements. Then we have the upper and lower control limits. These limits are drawn 3 standard deviations away from the average, meaning the variation in your measurements determines your control limits. If you are curious about how standard deviation is estimated, especially for an eye chart, or if you want to dive deeper into mathematical theory behind the control charts, you can check out the full control charts video. But for now, let's continue with the practical example and look at our dataset results at SIGMADESK. Here we can see the center line, which is the average of entire dataset, along with the upper and lower control limits. We also see the total number of data points, how many points fall outside the control limits, and the estimated standard deviation of the process. And that's essentially what makes up an eye chart. An eye chart visualizes individual measurements, while the control limits are calculated based on those individual observations. In a normal distribution, about 99.73% of measurements are expected to stay within -+3 sigma. In other words, inside the control limits. So whenever measurements fall outside these limits, they may indicate a special cause. Control charts help us visualize these violations and our root cause analysis process. Let's move on to MR chart. I and MR charts are usually used together. The MR chart plots the difference between each consecutive measurements in sequence. For example, between these 2 points, there is a sudden jump. Abnormal variations like this are often easier to see on MR chart. So let's switch to MR view. And here it is, we can clearly see that spike, and it exceeds the control limit. Again, we have the control limit specifically calculated for the MR chart, the moving range average as the center line, and the estimated variation. If you want to learn exactly how MR chart control limits are calculated, you can find the full explanation in our detailed control charts video. And that's it, you have successfully created and interpreted an IMR chart. There are many more features you can explore on SIGMADESK. For example, you can define specification limits and instantly analyze capability metrics such as CP and CPK for your process. You can also check Western electric rule violations, which help interpret control chart behavior and identify non-random process patterns. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your questions in the comments below. And if you like to practice on your own, you can try the tool yourself at SIGMADESK. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.